Hello. Oh, third time lucky. Hello and welcome to Motivation Monday and the Warrior Goddess Kettlebell Training page. Apologies for the delay. Had a little bit of technical issues with Facebook and Facebook Live today. Always the way when you are, on a schedule today and trying to get things done. So I will just wait to see as people join us. So I have been doing these Motivation Mondays now live on the Warrior Goddess Kettlebell Training page, and we'll continue to do these every Monday for Motivation Monday at 3 p.m. GMT, where you can join me live to hear trusted facts about body shape change, how you can get a body that you're proud of in your 40s with the Warrior Goddess body. So if you have never met me before, or this is the first time you're watching live, thank you so very much. My name is Lisa Barwise, and I consider myself a kick-ass wellness alchemist. That means that I'm the kick-ass catalyst in the transformation of women around the world, strong of mind, body and character. And I'm here today to share some of my favorite pieces of information. Plus, if you stick around to the end, I'm also going to share a link where you can access a free download that kind of complements what I'm talking about today. So also, as you're listening, or if you're listening to the replay, I want you to let me know in the comments below, first of all, where you're coming from, what specifically you're struggling with regards to fat loss, and I'm going to ask you for some feedback and some help as we go along today as well. So first of all, what is carb cycling and what has it got to do with fat loss, and why is it so good for you specifically in your 40s? So you may have seen, if you've been hanging out on my page for a while, or if you come onto the page, we do talk about the Warrior Goddess Body programs, but we do talk a lot about carb cycling or intermittent fasting, and the program that my Warrior Goddesses follow to help them to change their body shape, which is to lose, fat in the areas and de-wobble the areas that they don't want wobbly anymore, and to work at growing into those curves as well. So this is done very simply. This is done using what we call a carb cycling program. So if you've never heard about carb cycling before, it's very simple. Carb cycling is simply the consuming or the reduction of carbs based on where you are with activity and exercise in a week. So we do it over a 7-day, and I'm going to talk to you about the different days of the week and how they match up with activity. But we basically consume more carbs when we earn them through more physical activity, okay? So first of all, my question to you is, what about carbs? What do you know about carbs? Are you somebody who, and I want to hear in the comments below, have you heard that carbs are bad for you, okay? If you've heard carbs are bad for you, in the comments below, hit me up with a yes or a thumbs up emoji. If you've thought that carbs are bad for me for fat loss, I really shouldn't be consuming carbs, then this is only half of the equation, and often the problem that ladies find when they are trying to not only lose weight or to change their body shape. You see, carbs are not the enemy. Carbs are a strategic use of fuel for our bodies and are necessary to keep our bodies fueled, but also if we want to build the most amazing thing that we need to focus on, which is lean muscle. So again, let me know in the comments below, are you somebody who's looking to change their body shape, and you know that building lean muscle, and I'm not talking about big muscles here, I'm talking about that lean muscle, looking toned, conditioning your muscles. If that's something that you're looking to do, again, give me a yes or a nice bicep emoji below. Okay, so if you're somebody that thinks, okay, lean muscle is something that I need to do, then carbohydrates are essential for you to do that. So maybe if somebody who's been seeing and looking on social media about the keto diet or the ketogenesis, etc. What carb cycling does is it does tap into some parts of the keto elements, but only for certain days of the week and based on what you're doing. Because ultimately, if your goal is to change your body shape, to tone or to condition certain areas, like your legs or your bum or your arms, but also by shedding fat in other areas, you need to consume carbohydrates strategically. So that basically means you need to earn your carbs. So how we do that is, I said, a 7-day formula. Okay, so over 7 days, we look at your carb cycling from up and down based on what you've got going on and what activity you're doing. So most of my clients are people who train with me. So they train with kettlebells. They either do it online from home, where they have online kettlebell workouts, which they can also do at the gym, or they work with me in my studio. And in that way, there are certain days of the week that we have different types of training. So we have the 3 main graduate classes or classes that we work with that we call the lean, strong, and curvy classes. So the strong and curvy classes are strength and conditioning classes that are more about building lean muscle. They're heavier weights, they're slower movements. And to complement these workouts, my ladies would be encouraged to consume a high protein diet and consume their carbohydrates within an hour of working out. This is what carb cycling can be. On the other days where they're not doing, maybe they're doing the lean workouts, and our lean workout is our HIIT style training, our Tabata style training, which we encourage between once and twice a week, depending on what your goals are. Then with those, you wouldn't be consuming any carbs before that training, and you would be limiting your carbs on that day. Then we also have active recovery days where you maybe are going to be walking, or maybe doing some sprints, or maybe you would do yoga or other practices like that. And on those days, that's when you would also be cutting back on calories or cutting back on your carbohydrates. So let me tell you about the 7-day cycle and how that actually matches up, and also why you would want to do that. The main 3 benefits, and this is all outlined in this free download that I'm going to get for you, so make sure to hold on to the end. The main 3 benefits are to do with hormone balance and also teaching your body to pull from existing glycogen stores. And the other element is that by adding in an element of intermittent fasting into your cycle, which we do, you will tap into the amazing benefits of muscle building and growth and the resetting of your system. So what tends to happen is, as we get older, in specifically post 35, we tend to become more carbohydrate sensitive, and this is because of as we get older, especially in our 40s, heading up into menopause, our estrogen levels are starting to go down. As estrogen goes up and progesterone rises, we become more stress sensitive, which means we're more hormonal in terms of our cortisol hormone, our stress hormone, and also we tend to become a lot more insulin resistant, which basically means that we don't turn the glycogen stores and the carbohydrate stores into fuel readily. So what tends to happen is, if we're fueling our body with carbohydrates and just topping up with carbohydrates all of the time, we're never going to teach our body to use existing fat stores to burn the energy that we need to do things. And we're also never going to teach our body to use fats and proteins as fuel, because if we keep just topping it up with carbohydrates, then we're never going to use those really, really more efficient and often more consistent fuel sources. The other thing is also, as we get older, we tend to become more sensitive to the type of carbohydrates that we consume. So people always say to me, why is gluten-free and this gluten-free phenomenon tend to happen as you get older, but also why didn't it happen in my grandmother and grandfather's years, and etc. My mum was never this and my grandfather was never this. And that was because, one, wheat is now in everything. They put wheat, because it's so cheap to manufacture and produce, into everything to puff it up and make it last longer. It's also a grain that's easily produced, so they just stick it into everything. And you'll find that if you do go wheat free, that it's really difficult because you have to constantly look at those labels. Also, it's because of that, then it's in a lot more things. So instead of us just consuming a small amount of wheat, maybe in breads or in cereals, we're consuming it at nearly every single meal. And so therefore we're just topping up and topping up and topping up. Also, as we get older, we just become more sensitive. We tend to have more sensitive guts if we don't look after our gut health, and therefore that's when it can be an issue. So if you're somebody that also finds consuming carbohydrates difficult in terms of breads, in terms of pastas, maybe you get really bloated, maybe you feel really sluggish, etc., then go ahead and put a little emoji in there and let me know that you are indeed. So put a little sad face emoji if you are somebody who has a difficulty with regards to bloating. So you want to then look at strategically which carbs to consume, which starchy carbs are good for you in terms of certain fruits, starchy vegetables such as sweet potatoes or things like squashes, etc., or looking at lentils or complex carbs from beans, etc. So there are ways to get good complex carbs, but you need to know when to eat them and how to match them with what you're doing. And that is also what carb cycling is all about, is learning to match your exercise with what you consume, but also starting to listen to your body in terms of what your body wants at what part of the day. So we have those 7 days that I was telling you about. So we have a regular calorie day, and in that regular calorie day, you would eat what is above what we call your TD rate. So your TD is TDEE, total daily energy expenditure rate, which is the amount of calories that you need to consume to just run all of the mechanisms within your body, to not lose weight or gain muscle, but to just to balance and maintain everything out. This is essential for you to know, because if you go below that, or indeed what we call your base metabolic rate, you're actually causing harm to organs. So this is your TD rate. Your base metabolic rate is normally just a little bit underneath that. You never want to go below that BMR rate and to be so far into a calorie deficit, because you're going to cause not only your metabolism to stall and make fat loss very difficult, but you are going to do permanent damage to losing muscle mass, to actually hurting your organs and causing things like hair loss and skin deterioration, all of these things that I've seen on a regular basis, not to mention massive fatigue, headaches, etc., etc. So it's understanding these two figures are really important for you to know what you need to consume to gain lean muscle and what you need to consume to reduce the fat and be in calorie deficit. So a regular calorie day is a maintenance day. So this is a day you would partner with a good exercise, and it's just through the exercise you're bringing yourself into a calorie deficit, but you're consuming enough fuel to still build lean muscle, which is amazing. Then the next one would be a low carb day. So a low carb day is the one that's possibly the most challenging for my clients, because they're only getting 50 grams of net carbohydrates. So carbohydrates in the forms of breads, pastas, fruit, beans, lentils, quinoa, those sorts of grains are really limited on this day. So 50 grams, I'll give you an idea that, half a sweet potato is 50 grams, and that's your whole carbohydrate done for the day. So basically on these days you're really reducing your carbohydrate content down. So you're relying on proteins and fats to get your sources. So you're relying on avocados, you're relying on, if you're a meat eater, on lean cuts of fish or chicken or turkey. You're looking at, if you're a vegetarian, you're looking at eggs. If you're a vegan, you're looking at tofu or tempeh, and lots of green fibrous leafy vegetables. Think stir fries, think things like that. You're also looking at salads, soups, stews with meat, etc. in them. So it's but without the starchy carbs. It's all about greens, it's all about proteins, and it's all about fats on those days. Then you also have a low calorie day, which is just a 25% reduction of calories, which is going to allow you over the week to go into a calorie deficit, which is going to allow you to lose weight while still fueling your body at strategic times to help you to gain that lean muscle. Then you're going to look at my favorite of the 2 days, which is your feast day. So welcome to feast day. Feast day is about consuming 50% more calories, which is 50% more proteins, loads of yummy starchy carbohydrates on those days. So we tend to have more fruit. We also have a little chance for some discretionary calories. So this is not a cheat day, because as soon as you start consuming too much sugar, you tend to get hooked on it again, or eating bad carbohydrates, you tend to get hooked on them again. So it's just adding more oats, adding more grains, adding more fruit into things, and allowing yourself a little bit of a what we call discretionary calorie, a brownie or a donut or something, which is because it's normally paired with leg day. The biggest, heaviest workout happens on a feast day, and it's after that big workout that you can get to consume your biggest meal. Then you have a fast day. So it's a fast day. We do encourage that at least once a month you try to endeavor to have a 24-hour fast, but it is quite a challenge when you're first starting out. But the most important thing about fast day is it automatically comes after feast day. So your body is still very much fueled with the calories that it's had before. But you start your fast the day before, the night before. So if you stop eating at about 9 o'clock at night, then you keep going from that time. So you're sleeping through quite a lot of the fast, because you're fasting when you sleep. And then you want to try to go to at least, if you can go to 9 o'clock that evening again, that's great. If not, most people I tend to find go to between 2 and 6 o'clock the next day. They break their fast with something very easy to consume, like a smoothie or salads or some soups or stews, things that are already kind of soft and easy to consume, and then start the next day back on a regular calorie day with lots of calories for you to consume after breaking your fast. So it works really well for getting your body into the calorie deficit that it needs to lose weight, but also tapping into the power of carbohydrates for when they're needed to build the lean muscle and to fuel you for the next day's activities. It also means you're being strategic with your carbohydrates in terms of not consuming them maybe in the middle of the day or before exercise, which tends to make you a little bit sleepy and tired. You want to work with your body's energy throughout the day to ensure that you go to work out and do all those things. So if this is resonating with you, go ahead and throw me an emoji down below. I'd love to hear a thumbs up or hello. If you have any questions about it too and you're a little bit confused about how it works, generally it can be quite confusing at the beginning until you see it outlined. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put a link underneath this video for you to download that free 7-day cycle, Carb Cycle. It's going to talk to you about the benefits of carb cycling. It's going to give you the free 7-day cycle. It's going to outline how you work that out through rule of thumb measurement. And then if you have any difficulties or trying to get some support with that, you can reach out to me. All of my online body shape change programs use this 7-day cycle in its crux to help you to manage this for yourself. But the benefits are amazing in terms of your energy, in terms of the shape change, in terms of leaning out, toning out, whittling out that waist, all of the problem areas that we find as we become, older. Past 35, 40. Oh, hello, Margaret. Thank you so very much. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that link in below. I would love, love, love if you were to download it. And if you have any questions, you can PM me through the page here at Warrior Goddess Kettlebell Training, or you can email me at hello@warriorgoddesskettlebelltraining.com. But I look forward to connecting with you all soon. Enjoy the rest of your Monday and have a great one. Peace out.